It's Caleb checking in here with Wandering Minds. So today I wanted to talk what it looks like to do a walking meditation. I am outside on a local trail. So I hope you guys are doing well today, and thank you for joining me. Just some background. So for the last 3 weeks we've been covering kind of different intros to mindfulness, talking about how to practice mindfulness and talking about 5 tips for practicing mindfulness. I've also talked about how to manage distraction, and last week we talked about how to tune into your body and practice really using progressive muscle relaxation to relax your body. So today is part 2 really of tuning into your body and getting to know yourself in a physical space, and that is with a walking meditation. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to check in below and write comments or share this video with your friends if you feel like it might be helpful. Would love to hear from you guys, and I will always circle back around if I can answer any questions or concerns that you have. Hopefully the rain will hold off while I do this video, and thank you for joining me. So to start, I wanted to just talk about what a walking meditation is and what can be helpful about using walking as a meditation. So I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but maybe you might be good at a certain skill or hobby, and maybe someone's asked you to teach them that hobby, and I don't know if you've ever had this, but as soon as someone maybe asks you to teach them something, you might just immediately forget how to do that. Maybe it's like just tying your shoes, or maybe a certain tennis swing that you have mastered. Maybe it's kicking a soccer ball in a certain way. But sometimes when we get really good at something, we forget all the intricacies that go into practicing that thing. And I don't think that walking is an exception to that. So as we are going on walks, and we don't think about walking ever, really. It's just something that we do naturally, and that's good, that's helpful. But I think when we bring our minds and bodies into focus and try to think about what it is that we're doing while we're walking, that can be a really powerful thing. So walking meditation, the first idea that I want to talk about with walking meditation is proprioception, which is a big word, and all that means is just being aware of your body and the physical space that it's taking up. So when I put my arm over my head, do I know how high my arm goes? Can I check in with my body and know where I'm reaching to and how tall I am with my arm over my head? What does that mean, and how do I know where my body is in space? How do I know where my feet are going as I'm walking on this trail? So that's proprioception. The other idea with walking meditation is that it helps us to tune into our senses. So as I'm walking, maybe I'm noticing, where my feet are falling, and each time I'm taking a step, I'm thinking about the pressure that I'm applying to both of my feet. And so walking meditation helps us to tune into our senses. We notice our surroundings, we slow down, and we just take a minute to breathe. And that's what I want to focus on with this walking meditation. So I have 2 points that I want to kind of follow that up with. So proprioception, checking in with our senses. And so what good is walking meditation for? What is it good for? The first thing that I think walking meditation is good for is that it brings us out of autopilot, right? So that idea of teaching something that maybe we've for years, suddenly we have to think about well, how do I tie my shoes? I don't even know. I don't even think about it. And so when we practice walking meditation, we're bringing ourselves out of autopilot and into the present moment. And that's all about what mindfulness is. The next thing is that it brings order out of chaos. And I think this is kind of a special idea when it comes to walking meditation. But so often when we're outside, either in nature or just maybe walking around in our neighborhood, there's a lot that could be going on. and we might not necessarily notice what it is that's happening around us. And so when we're practicing a walking meditation, it helps us to notice and take a minute to slow down. And maybe that idea of stopping and actually smelling the flowers is part of that. So I think that's another important aspect of walking meditation. So how do we practice this? And so I've been talking a lot about what it means and why walking can be a meditative thing. And so I want to talk about how to practice that. So the first thing that I'd encourage you to do is go for a walk, right? That's pretty straightforward. So maybe sometime later today or right now, if where you are it's not raining too hard, get up from your desk and go on a walk. It doesn't have to be a certain distance or a certain time that you're shooting for. And maybe time to get up and go for a walk, or maybe that's not something that you're able to do. So I think just moving your body in some way that you're able to is great, and I think that's important. So just first is just find a safe space for you to move your body in whatever way that you feel fit. Next thing to do is to notice your breath. So right now as I'm walking, I'm just going to take a few moments to slow down and take some deep breaths. You could even count your breath like we talked about in the very first episode. So I'm going to just do that for a few moments. So already I feel a little bit more centered. And the next thing I'd like you to do as you're practicing a walking meditation is to notice your body. Last week we did progressive muscle relaxation, and we tuned into our bodies and did a body scan. And I think that's a really helpful thing to do while you're walking. So I'd like you to start from your head and go down to your toes and just notice how your body's feeling right now. Notice your breath. Notice as each foot falls what it feels like. So maybe your right foot and your left foot feel differently. Maybe your knee is popping, or you've got some joint pain. As you breathe some out of your body. So as you're feeling grounded and noticing your breath and noticing your body, I'd like you to then transition to noticing your surroundings. Maybe you're just in your neighborhood. Maybe you do have access. Maybe you're still in your office and just kind of checking in with around you. But notice your surroundings, and I think this is another part of bringing order out of chaos is really special when you're doing a walking meditation. And maybe you get to notice some flowers that are blooming. Maybe you get to notice some trees or some small plants or shrubs that your neighbors have planted. Now is a really special time to be outside with springtime and all the flowers blooming, and I think if the names of those flowers, that can be another way to practice bringing order out of chaos and bringing ourselves to the present moment. So as you're walking, noticing your breath, noticing your surroundings, I'd like you to then tune into what you can hear. So for me right now, sorry about that, guys. Looks like I lost connection there briefly. So what I was asking folks to do, if you have time, is with hear around you as you're walking. So noticing, for me right now, I can hear the rain falling. I can hear my feet on the ground. I can hear some cars off in the distance. I don't currently hear any birds, but I imagine if I stopped and listened for a little while, I'd probably hear some. as you're practicing this, I think another thing to notice is what the air feels like on your skin. So right now it feels very cool for me. And I think the temperature of our surroundings is a helpful thing to notice. So as you guys are maybe wrapping up your practice of walking, maybe you're just walking around your office or your house, maybe you are outside on a trail or in your neighborhood, and as you're wrapping that up, I would just encourage you to just show some gratitude to your body for carrying you today. Show some gratitude to your legs for moving and your lungs for working. And as we wrap up, I think I want to just encourage you guys to practice this sometime this week. Maybe take the family and go for a walk. Notice, and maybe ask people to, notice their surroundings and slow down. Take some deep breaths as you walk and tune into your body and how your body's feeling, where your body is in space. Those are really powerful exercises that we can practice to just be in the moment and take ourselves out of that autopilot that we fall into so often in life, when we just forget how to teach the things that we know so deeply. So thank you guys for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. This is Wandering Minds episode 4. Please comment below with any questions or comments, and hit the like button if you found this helpful. It's a little bit different than some of the previous episodes, but I think it comes back to that core meaning of what mindfulness is, which is just being present in our body.